You know, you can dress this up any single way you want, but truly the bottom line now is Prince Harry has well and truly been replaced, and even he knows it over in Montecito. Let me explain. Morning, good to see you today. Thank you so much for your time. Always difficult, isn't it, in families, you know, when you have that very tricky manoeuvre. There's always one member of the family that you don't particularly get on with, but everybody tries their very best. And, you know, suddenly when you get to a certain age, you think, you know what, stuff it. I've done everything I can. Why should I keep having to be bowing down, kowtowing, that sort of stuff? And when, of course, if you are members of the British monarchy and you've read openly these terrible things that someone that you've loved, cherished, cared and been kind to about yourself, you kind of think, well, where did I go wrong? And truly that must be that's going through the mind of His Majesty the King. You know, for people that have known him a long time, and I've seen him up close alongside his children as they grow up, you know, he's a nice guy. He tried his best, not necessarily, you know, in his position. He didn't necessarily always get it right, but what parent does, let's be honest. But you could see there was a warmth there. He loved them, he thought the world of them, and he did his very best to get Harry through some very difficult times. Of course, what happened was he decided to, well, expunge those times in print and basically say he wasn't a warm father. Very cruel, very unkind. But apparently, according to an inside source, it was this particular image that has literally had Harry and Meghan at loggerheads. That's right, the arrival of the state banquet of course, the Qatar visit with David and Victoria. Now, as I've told you before, they wiped away that possible friendship simply because they believed the spies and conspiracy theories. Harry's not quite sure where they came from. I think we all know, don't we? But the bottom line is David and Victoria would have been very good allies and friends for Meghan and Harry. You know, they're just affable people. Yes, they've had their problems, but they've managed to rough ride all of that to become very successful independently and very much like, should I say, over here in the United Kingdom and the rest of the world. His Majesty the King and David bonded over their fondness of honey, beekeeping in particular. Something, of course, that even Meghan Markle couldn't get off the ground with her own pots of jam. Maybe she should have started that business a little earlier. But according to that source, Harry and Meghan are literally at loggerheads because he believes that they could have had that level of relationship, that popping in and out of the royal life, if they hadn't have been so speedy to get away. Both blaming each other, according to the source that still works inside that camp. You see, Harry wanted to gradually move away from the royal family. Meghan felt they were at their peak of their popularity, and if they zip over to the other side of the world, they could capitalise on that and become great brand ambassadors and, of course, icons around the world. She blames the fact that the pandemic squared all of those problems. Harry, of course, knows the fact that he had a brand long before he met Meghan. But apparently watching this, and Harry apparently watches all major royal events unfolding. He hasn't let go of royal life, whatever you think. Apparently watching this, he couldn't believe it when David and Victoria popped up. He realises now that the King probably is going to defer more to David Beckham after his son, His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales, Prince William, than ever now reach out to Harry, who we simply can't trust. And this apparently set him in floods of tears. Who can blame him? But whose fault is it? Neil Shaw in Parliament, London.